new seal here for $181. And remain seal. It includes bearing caps, which some people have done on some old Mopar trucks to ease the installation, apparently, but I've also seen it done without doing that. So this alone, this little paper plastic, just to confirm they are the exact same seals, upper and lower. There's no differences as far as I can tell. So this will go in towards the motor, and this skinny side will go towards the, this will go towards the front, towards the actual crankcase, the oil pan, oil side, and the smaller lip here will point towards the flywheel, towards the transmission, the back. Okay, so so we have, what do they call it? They called it joint principle. Rear main seal on the joint principle. So just a guide, I guess, a little guide to help the sharp edge on the engine block from cutting. So this is what I'll take. But let me paper gasket, new paper gasket. I should get some gasket sealant before we start, but I'm gonna do that next day, not today. Box out of the way. Paper gasket, yes, we want that. And new pump. Looks like paint and cast iron. But everything should be new. It's got a new cotter pin there. Big old China imprint somewhere on here, like China. Yeah. Okay, so here's our old one, side by side versus the new one. They look identical. The new one looks a little larger though. Here's the old one. Profile of the new one looks a little taller. This new one has lock nuts as well. The pump itself. As far as its function goes, so see the new one, the bolt comes out there, but this one is cast just high enough so it doesn't come out. But, you know, USA, the old one. It looks like the same drive size. This. And this is the style of the old one. It's a screen inside, but then it has this plate to narrow the socket. But there's a bunch of gunk in the engine. Pickup tube. There's an engine. Just a full-on screen. Pickup screen. I suppose, I don't know what the design principle of narrowing that down to a steady flow as opposed to wide open like that. Original, everything looks more heavy duty, but okay. So I got it started. I'm just gonna light my fingers and kind of show you a little closer what I'm looking at. You see that? So you have to kind of push it in. As long as you got lube there, you should fine. And this paper here is keeping it from cutting that top of that seal on the edge. As long as you cleaned it inside there and got the dirt out, you should. I'm using my finger. I'm not even using a punch. I might have to get a punch on the last bit, and I got assembly lube on there and everything. It starts to get tight. I'm gonna have to get a punch. Alright. Right about. New seals installed. I got the right lip. Just to make sure I got the right sealing side. And then this should just be able to slip right out. Huh. It's kind of slippery. Okay. Yeah, so the installation of the seal, as you can see, was straightforward. That little orange Vuitton seal, you just have to make sure it has enough assembly lube. And you cleaned out already. I used some parts cleaner or some brake cleaner to clean the inside, make sure there's no dust or fragments still stuck in the seating area on the block. And then once that's clean, and you make sure you have plenty of assembly lube on that seal, and even some lithium grease maybe, and then you just push it in there. And so getting the seal on the cap is not too hard to seat it, but the sealing part is the most important aspect here. If you follow the instructions, you're only supposed to use 5/18 Loctite, a dot, a very small dot on either side of that bearing cap mating surface, and as you can see, you're not to apply sealant along the whole surface or on the seal itself. But a lot of people do that online, and I'm sure it causes them problems. But anyway, let's go through it. As per the factory service manual, after installing the new lower seal and bearing cap with white paint facing the rear of engine, apply 5 millimeters or 0.2 inch drop Loctite 5/18 or equivalent on each side of the rear main bearing cap. Do not over apply sealant or allow the sealant to contact the rubber seal. Assemble bearing cap to cylinder block immediately after sealant application. I'll show you the figure they're talking about. Basically, I want to put a dot, Loctite 5/18 here and here, just a dot. I don't want to smear it. Not trying to put RTV everything. I want to make sure it doesn't touch the seal either. Trying to keep everything separate. That's what the experts say, and that's what we're going to do. And then later, once we install the oil pump and everything, we'll insert some silicone RTV from the outside here, but not now. Not until everything's torqued down on the engine. But I have to be ready quickly before I do this, before I apply it, because I think should ideally install it within 30 seconds after putting the Loctite 5/18 on here. Or anything else, I'm going to do one more little clean down on here, on our surface, make sure we don't got any residual shit going on here. Our seal there still set up. Lube on. So at this stage, with the seal installed in the bearing cap under the vehicle, take this Loctite 5/18 and put that little dot on the mating surface in between. Again, it doesn't have to touch the seal. It should not touch the seal, in fact, at all. And you don't spread it around like a thin layer of RTV. That little dot will
expand into a seal within the clearances afforded by the engineers. But anyway, once you get that Loctite up there, you have about, let's say, 30 seconds or so. You should be ready to place that and set that up on the block. And you're going to need to tap it ever so slightly, and you'll hear it click in that bearing cap onto the block. And that's when you want to hand tighten your bolts, your 2 bolts of the bearing cap into the block. You hand tighten them until as much as you can until they bottom out, and then you could gradually tighten both of them until you are ready to torque them at about 80 foot-pounds. So that's pretty high torque. And if you did have to loosen other bearing cap bolts in order to get the old seal off, which I didn't have to do, and I'm not sure you really have to do that, but some people do need to do that, then be sure to check your torque on all your other bearing caps on the block before you go to the next step, which would be installing the oil pump.